Hello, welcome to this tutorial where you will learn how to make a first-person shooter game using mBlock. So, before we start, let me show you how to play this game that you're going to create later. So, now that you have a taste of the game, now let's learn how you can actually make this game. Now, what you have to do is to load up your mBlock 5. Once you're in mBlock 5, then the next thing that you have to do is to click on Sprite. Now we are going to start to add in our characters. Click Add and click Upload. You should be able to get all these files down in the link below. The first thing that you have to load into is the crosshair. So this is going to be the shooter. Next, you can actually load in your zombie. After that, you can actually load in your game over, and then after that you can add in the last thing, which is the blood border. Now what you have to do is you can actually delete off this panda. So now let's first start to see how you can actually code for the crosshair. Now the first thing that you need to do is to create a variable called myLife. You are going to start off your life with 100. Besides, another thing that you have to do is go to sounds and you need to add in the music for this game. So click add sounds, go to upload and upload the horror sound. There you go, and click OK. Now, for you to make sure that this is not that messy, then what you need to do is you can actually hide all these first. So you can click this, you can hide them. Right? So now the thing looks a bit cleaner. Besides, you also need to add in your background. So let's look for the background, desert. And now we're ready to code for the crosshair. The first thing that you have to do is go to events, and after that put in show. Now you need to make sure that your life is actually set to 100. So click variables, set my life to 100. And there you go. So now you can see that your life is now at 100. After that, you can see that this crosshair is very big. So what you need to do is you can actually make it smaller. So you can drag in set size, set it to 50. So now you can see that it is of a decent size. Now, we want this crosshair to actually move according to where our mouse position is. So that is what we will be doing. So first of all, what you need to do is you can actually put in forever, and then after that you can put in go to mouse pointer. So now you can see that it is actually moving according to the mouse position. Now, when you have already lose this game, you want this to actually stop. And the way to code for that is you need to use if then. Okay, so when your life is at 0, then that means that you would have lost the game. So this is how you can actually do it. So when my life is less than 0, then you can actually hide the pointer. And then you also want to use this block called broadcast, and you want it to broadcast game over. Later you will see why you need this block. So once it has broadcast game over, then you want to stop everything inside here. So what you can do is you can go to controls, put this one, make sure that you change it to this script. So what happens here is that right now you can actually move the crosshair. But what happens is when you lose the game, then you are going to get a message called game over, then you will no longer be able to see the crosshair. Now, there's a few things that you also need to create for your broadcast. So we will start creating for these first and later we'll move along. So make sure you have this new message, change it to hit by zombie. So you're just going to put it here first, later you'll be able to see what these blocks are for. When I receive game over. Now, when you are hit by zombie, what happens here is you need to deduct the life of the player. So what you can do is you can say change my life to -10. And after that, you can actually put this in, wait 1 second, so that it will not go on continuously. When you receive game over, then you want to set my life to 0. So what you can do is you can put this inside here, and after that go to variables, and then you can set my life to 0. The last thing that you need to code for this is this one over here. When the flag is clicked, you want to play the horror music. So what you have to do is you can actually drag in this one inside here. And that is the code for the crosshair. So let's see what happens with this particular code. So almost immediately you can hear the music playing. And you can also see that the crosshair is actually moving according to your mouse. So now I'm going to stop here and we'll continue on to see in the next video how you can actually code for the zombie. Now we will learn how you can actually code for the bullet. But before you do anything, the first thing that you have to do is to detach off these two blocks. That way, the background music will not be played. Now we are going to click add, and we're going to click upload, and we're going to upload our bullet here. To make it look tidier, I'm just going to move this to the second position. Now what I will do is I will start to code for the bullet. So when flag is clicked, you want to hide it first. Now I'm going to introduce a new variable called level. And I'm also going to introduce another variable called score. Now, when the game first starts, you are going to set the level to 1. And after that, you're going to set the score to 0. So every single time you shoot one zombie, then the score will change by 1. Now, you want the bullet to follow your crosshair. So the way to do that is you can do forever, and you can actually click go to mouse pointer. Now you can see that it has been hidden, so let's try and remove that again. Let's try and show it, and here you go. You can see that it is actually following the mouse pointer. Good. Now let's continue on. What we need to do next is we need to click when flag is clicked forever. Then we can actually start to code for it. If mouse down. So mouse down means that you've actually pressed on your button. So when you press on your button, then it will actually broadcast unload. We also need to create another broadcast called load. So now we're going to put the code inside here. So that means that every single time you click the button, then it's going to broadcast unload. So that means that your gun is actually being fired. So when you click unload, then after that, the bullet is going to show. So let's do this. So first you hide it, and after that, when you click the button, oops, over here, so every single time you've clicked the button, then it is going to show, right? So the button that you're going to click is on your mouse. So every single time you click it, so let's try this, you can see that it shows up, okay? Now, when this shows up on one of the zombie, meaning that you have actually hit one zombie, then you want to change the score and the level. So the way to do that is you can actually drag in this code. If the bullet is touching the zombie, then change the level by 1 and change the score by 1. After that, you can actually ask it to wait for a while for 0.1 second. So that way you will make the bullet linger around for 0.1 second. After that, it will hide. Now, you don't want the player to be able to keep on firing. So you're going to say that the player can only fire once every second. Then after that, it's going to broadcast. So here you can see that this is going to lead to this effect over here. So I'm going to click my mouse right now, and you can see that the bullet will actually show. And then after that, it will hide. Then I can't keep on clicking this button. You can see that although I'm continuously clicking my mouse button over here, the bullet will only show once every 1 second. Now, when you click your mouse, then that means that the gun is actually being fired. So what you need to do is you also want to add in the music. So the way how you can do that is you can actually click this and you click when I receive fire. Oops, actually you don't need this. You can just say when I receive unload. Then after that, you're going to play some sounds. Now, I've actually prepared the sounds for you, so you can actually just add them in. So let's not use the original soundtrack over here. We can actually add in our own sounds. So the way to do that is click upload, and you can actually load in gunshot and reload. So here is your gunshot, and here is your reload. So click OK, and you'll be able to see. Oops, let's do that again. So now you can go to My Sounds, click gunshot. Okay, so now you have your gunshot and you have your reload. You can actually delete this off. Now you can click this button over here and then you can drag it in. Okay, change this to gunshot, change this to reload. So let's try. Okay, so that is how you can actually code for the bullet. Now I'm going to progress on to teaching you how you can actually code for the zombie in the next video. Now let's look at how you can actually code for the zombie. Now you will realize that the zombie sprite has already been loaded just now. When you click zombie, and if you click costumes, you realize that actually inside there's a lot of zombie images. And this is actually what gives the zombie its walking animation. So let's start to code for this. The first thing that you want to do is, again, you're going to drag in this block over here and you're going to hide the zombie initially. And after that, we're going to do something very special called making a list. And now we're going to create this list called zombie. This list will actually keep track on how many zombies we've actually created. So first of all, we're going to delete all the zombies. And now we are going to add in wait 3 seconds. The reason why you're doing this is to make sure that the zombies appear together with the background music. I will show you what I mean later. So now we're going to drag in forever. Now this is going to be slightly complicated, but you can actually just follow suit. So you can actually drag in this button over here, drag in this button over here, drag in this button over here, and after that, you are going to drag in this variable called level. Now, we are going to ask the computer to actually generate the zombies at random times. So, we are going to ask it to wait for a random period of time. So, pick random, 2, and we're going to do something very, very special here. We're going to put 2, and after that we're going to drag in this block over here, so this multiplier block, and put 0.9 level, and we're going to drag it inside here. Okay, we're going to do 3 seconds. So as the level increases, as you continue to kill more zombies, then what's going to happen here is that this level will also increase. Then the seconds over here, the 2 seconds over here is going to minus by whatever amount it is over here. So that means that now the frequency of the zombie appearing is going to be faster and faster. So this allows you to code for the game where the zombies will appear more and more over a period of time. Now what you need to do is you can actually drag in this block, and you can actually drag in this block as well. Now we're going to use the list function. We're going to look for this button over here, length of zombie name. So if there are 5 zombies over here, then this is going to appear here. Now you don't want the screen to be crowded with too many zombies, so you're going to limit it to 10. So that means that every single time only 10 zombies can appear. Then after that, it's going to add zombies into the list. Now, one last thing, one very, very important thing right now is we are going to create zombie clones. So we're going to put this, drag this out here, and after that we're going to put it inside here. So create clones. So what does this whole code actually mean? So this code means that every single time you click start, then it's going to wait 3 seconds, then it's going to start making zombie clones. And every single time it creates a clone, then it's going to add the zombie into this list over here. And as this list becomes more and more until there are 10 zombies, then it's going to stop creating the zombies. That way you only make sure that you have 10 zombies all the time on the screen over here. Now we are going to see how you can actually code for the clones. So the way to do that is you can actually click when I start as clone. Then after that, you want the zombie to keep on moving. When I start as clone, forever, and click next costume. Now, what does this code do? So let me show you the zombie over here, right? So if I start this chunk of code, you can see that this is how the zombie walks. Okay, so this is what this chunk of code is for. Now, when I start as a clone, then the zombie will keep on moving. So now we're going to code for the movement. When I start as a clone, then forever. Now, if this zombie actually touch a bullet, then it will actually be killed off. And that is what we're coding right now. If the zombie is touching the bullet over here, then you will delete one zombie from the list over here. So delete one zombie off from the list, and you can also delete off this clone over here. Now, this zombie is going to keep on walking down. You want to make sure that it stops somewhere around here so that it doesn't go off screen. So the way to do that is you can actually add in this block. If less than -159. So -159 is around this region over here. So I'm going to put in the Y coordinate. So that means that when this zombie walks until somewhere around here, then it will actually stop. So we can actually put in the Y position. So when the Y position is less than 159, meaning the zombie is around here, then after that it is going to stop moving. Okay, but also another very, very important thing to realize is that it will actually broadcast hit by zombie, because when the zombie is near here, that means that the zombie is actually touching you. So you want to code for that as well. So I'm going to code broadcast hit by zombie. So when you're hit by zombie, and after that it's going to wait 1 second. Okay, so that way your life doesn't suddenly just drop down. Alright, now let's code for the movement. So this is what happens when the zombie touches the bullet. This is what happens when the zombie touches you. So now we're going to drag in another code. When I start as clone, you will show. Remember, initially there's hide, so now you need to code for show. So when I start as a clone, I will show up. Now you want this zombie to look a bit smaller, so you're going to make it 20. Okay, so let's see what happens if I set this to 20. You can see that it is tiny, but as it continues to walk towards you, then it will become larger and larger. And that's exactly what we're going to code for. So when I start as clone, it's going to show up. It's going to be tiny because it's very far away. Then you're going to code for its coordinate. So go to, and now we're going to ask it to appear randomly anywhere around here. So pick random -122 to 180. I'm going to ask it to start somewhere around this line over here, which is going to be -80. Let's see what this code does. So you can see that it appears at this area over here. Okay, so every single time it starts as a clone, it will be small because it's very far, and it will appear somewhere along these lines. and we're going to ask it to go to the back layer. So what you can do is you can actually drag this one out, change this to back. Now we're going to code for it moving forward. Put forever if then else. Okay, so remember just now I say that it is going to have to stop somewhere around here when it's hitting you, so that it doesn't walk off screen. So you can drag this in when the Y position is larger than -160. The Y position is over here. Okay, so when the Y position is larger than -160, okay, then it's going to change Y. It's going to walk downwards, so it's going to change Y by this amount over here. So I am going to look for this block over here, 5, change by -5 because it's walking downwards. And then after that, you want it to minus 0.9. Okay, so that way, as the game progresses on, then what's going to happen is it's going to walk closer and closer to you in a faster pace. Okay, then after that, we're going to ask it to change X because it is slowly going across. So Y is -5 minus this amount over here, and then after that you're going to ask it to walk slightly across here. Okay, so I'm going to say change X by 5. Okay, then after that we're going to set change size by 5 because as it continues to walk towards you, it becomes larger and larger. And every single time it does that, it's going to wait for a while. It's going to wait for 0.5 seconds. Now, this is what is going to happen. So let's try this out. Okay, so now you can see that it is actually moving closer and closer. But as I mentioned, you wanted the zombie to stop somewhere around here, right? So you're going to put this one inside here. As long as it doesn't cross this barrier over here, which is about Y position of -160, then it's going to keep on moving. If it actually crosses this area over here, then it's going to stop moving. Okay, it's going to stop moving, but you can still make it. You can still make the zombie to become larger. So you can make this over here. Okay, so let's see what happens. So again, wait 3 seconds. It's going to pick a random time, then it's going to appear. So now you can see that the zombie is actually walking towards us. Okay, then after that you can see that around -160, it doesn't really move much anymore, but it does become larger. Okay, so that's how you can actually code for the zombie. Right? Okay, good. In the next video, we will learn how you can actually code for the game over. So I will see you in the next video. Now, if you have already coded for the crosshair, the bullet, and the zombie, then you should be able to play the game somewhat. So let's try this out. So you can see that when I click this, after 3 seconds, then the zombie will appear. Okay, so if your game is working as it should be, then let's move on. The next thing that we're going to code for is the game over. So let's make this game over appear on our screen. Now what we need to do is we can actually remove off the list. That way it doesn't block the screen. And then after that, we're going to look at game over. Now, you can see that the game over icon is actually not in the middle. So that is the first thing that we're going to do. Now the game over will only appear when your life equals to 0. So if you remember, when I receive game over, my life equals to 0. So when do I receive game over? When my life is less than 0. Okay, so that's code for that. So when I receive game over, then after that it is going to show. So initially, when you start the game, it is actually going to hide first. When I receive game over, it is going to show. Then after that, it is going to go to the middle. Okay, so now you can see that it is in the middle. And if you want, you can actually change the screen bit. You can actually make it slightly larger or slightly smaller, but that's entirely up to you. So when I receive game over, now you want it to flash. So I'm going to put in forever, then I'm going to ask it to go to the middle, and after that I'm going to ask it to show, and after that it's going to wait for 0.5 seconds. After that it's going to hide. After that it's going to show again. Okay, now the effect of this code is, you can see that it is actually going to do this. Okay, so let's build back just now what we have done. When I receive game over, that is what it will actually show. And then after that, when I receive game over, then it's going to play a sound of the player dying. So what you need to do is you can actually click sounds, and after that you can click add sound, and you're going to upload this soundtrack over here, which is game over. So you have this one over here, click OK, and you can actually listen to the soundtrack. Okay, so that's how it's going to sound like. Then after that you're going to drag it in here. Play game over. Okay, so that's the code for the game over. And now we're going to code for the border. Okay, so let's try that. Now what does the border do? So the border is going to appear when the zombie touches you. Okay, so now let's code for that. The first thing that you have to do is you have to center it again. Okay, so let's try that. Okay, for some reason it's not appearing, so let's try that again. Okay, so there you go. So when flag is clicked, then you're gonna ask it to hide. Okay, so it's gonna hide first. It won't appear until the zombie touches you, and you're gonna change this to set size. So over here, set size to 113. So now it's going to be slightly bigger. Oops, sorry. It's going to hide first, and after that it's going to show. So let's show it. Let's ask it to go to the middle. Go to 0, 0. And there we go. It's going to fit very, very nicely onto the frame on the screen. Okay, so it's going to hide. It's going to set size. And after that, you're going to ask it to forever be around that area over there. Okay. Yep. So now when I receive, okay, so when you are being hit by the zombie, then after that, when you're going to hit by the zombie, then it's going to broadcast hit by zombie. So when I receive hit by zombie, you're going to ask it to go to the front layer, and after that, it's going to show. After that, you're going to ask it to wait for 0.5 seconds. And after that, it's going to hide. Okay, so let's see what happens over here. So you can see now, if this zombie goes to a region somewhere around here, you can see that this screen will appear. Okay, all right. And you can see that my life is actually missing. Then after that, you get the message, game over. Okay, alright. So the next thing that we're going to do is to code for the word loaded. So I'll see you in the next video. Now we're going to check out our entire game. We're almost at the end of creating this game. So let's try it out. Now, before that, remember to connect this block so that the background music will load. Okay, so if you manage to done this, well done. Now we're going to make the player experience slightly better. Now we're going to make sure that when the gun is ready to be fired, then a message loaded will appear. So let's paint this sprite. Make it green color. Now after that, we're going to type out the word loaded. We're going to make this slightly bigger. Okay, so once you're happy with that size, then that's it. Good, now let's code for this sprite over here. Now, let me show the crosshair. Good. Now you want this word to appear around the crosshair. So let's do that. So when flag is clicked, forever, go to mouse pointer. Then we're going to ask it to change X and change Y. Change X. So let's try this out. 140. Okay. So let's try it. You can see that now it is following this. So every single time you fire, okay, you can see that the word appears over there. So now we're going to try and code the remainder of this. So when I receive loaded, okay, then it will actually show. Right? So when it's ready to be fired, then it will show. And when you fire it, then it's going to hide. And you also want it to hide when it is game over. And there you go. And that's the entire game. So now let's try it out. Okay, so that is how you can actually make the zombie game. So I hope you find this video useful for you to create your own shooter game. Thank you.